Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, the Battlefield 6 beta is here. I don't know about you guys, but I've been spending probably way too much time on this game and not getting nearly enough sleep. But with this, obviously, we get to experience Battlefield 6 hands-on for the first time. However, even though this is just our very first experience with Battlefield 6 multiplayer, the devs have actually already revealed a bunch of major updates they're either currently working on right now or will be planning throughout the year of Battlefield to come. So lots of really interesting details here. This information is courtesy of Battlefield Bulletin over on Twitter, and all this information is basically just a collection of answers that the Battlefield devs gave during a media showcase in Hong Kong. So first up, we actually got some pretty major news about DLC maps for Battlefield 6 and what to expect as we do get in-year updates and post-launch updates here for the game. And DICE says that they want to choose, based on fan and player requests, the best possible classic builds or maps. And with that, they're really just aiming for the nostalgia factor there. They've said that they've taken a lot of inspiration from previous Battlefields, whether it be Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, to really build out Battlefield 6 here. And I'm sure you can see and feel a lot of that in-game, of course. And with this, they want to go off of player feedback for remasters and classic maps returning, which I think is really cool. We see this obviously over in Call of Duty a lot, where with seasonal updates, they give us a lot of remakes and remasters. Sometimes it's just maps that aren't really huge hits, though. It's ones that might be, really cool from a design standpoint, or they have a cool feature, but for gameplay, they're just not really all that great. Whereas, other times we get fantastic ones that are like OGs in the COD franchise. DICE has an opportunity to really feed off of that this year as well, which should be really cool to see. So as far as post-launch maps go, we could be expecting a decent bit of remakes and remasters based on community feedback straight up. I'm curious to see how they go about gathering that information. Are they going to run official polls? Are they just going to be looking up, different maps from previous Battlefield games, seeing, okay, this one was mentioned 200 times, this one was mentioned 2,000 times. We're going to go with that one instead. So nonetheless, good news there, I would say. They also detailed a bit of their plans for post-launch support. Obviously, launch in and of itself in October is going to be huge, but the game is going to have multiple different seasonal events happen. These are going to be introducing various new weapons, new modes, and new maps, so similar to the seasonal content that we've had in different Battlefield titles. Obviously Battlefield 2042 introduced this a lot as well, so similar system there. But seasonal events, seasonal updates will be consistently bringing new content to the game, sort of to be expected with most live service games these days, but hopefully this does mean frequent updates. And they actually give us more of a time frame here that we'll talk about in just a moment. Another thing that was detailed, though, that's had a lot of people talking is AI bots, or AI soldiers, and they did confirm that AI soldiers are going to backfill games, basically, if they are underpopulated. This probably is not something you're going to see a ton of if you're living in a super, common region or super played region like the US or the EU. But if you're in a bit more of, a smaller player-based location, you may see this happen from time to time, depending on what time of day you're playing, what modes you're playing, if they're more popular. But their philosophy basically is to put as many real players as possible into the game, and then they'll go through and backfill bots as needed. And Battlefield actually re-clarified here exactly what to expect, and they've already detailed some stuff going on with AI and players there and bots there in the open beta. So they say AI soldiers are currently only present in the training grounds playlist within the open beta. This is the breakthrough initiation playlist for this week. For example, in this, you've got 15 real players, then additional AI soldiers that are going to fill up the match thereafter. And training grounds are basically there to introduce people to the core elements of gameplay there, offer that smoother experience, and you don't have to go in and immediately get tanked by some professional, or flown over with a jet right away by a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. You can sort of get the knowledge there and the experience that you need. Additionally, you can experience breakthrough without AI soldiers, of course, by just playing the basic playlist there. And training grounds is only available for the first 15 ranks, and then you won't be able to actually go through and queue for that anymore. I imagine we're going to have a similar system to this on launch, and then obviously, as reported here, over time they will backfill on modes with AI if there's not enough people to actually fill those lobbies. But that's going to be more of a region specific thing, if I had to guess. And by the way, as we're going through all these updates that have been revealed, all these new details, if you guys enjoyed the video, you find the info helpful, a like rating is always really appreciated. Much love to everyone who does take the time to do so. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee each and every day you're up to date with all things going on, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and help get us one step closer to hitting 1 million subscribers. Seriously, much love to everyone for all the support on all the Battlefield content thus far. Now, as I sort of alluded to a bit earlier on, DICE did actually give us a rough outline, I guess you could call it, of when we should expect major updates, seasonal events, content updates for Battlefield 6. They said the game will receive, quote, regular quarterly updates. So every quarter we should expect something major. Maybe it won't be as frequent as every 6 weeks we'll be getting a major update, or every 8 weeks, but roughly every quarter there we will end up getting a major update of some kind based off of that description. They're a little bit more ambiguous. We might get more specifics there in the future as we get closer to launch, but that's sort of the general breakdown, the more broad breakdown of update timing for post-launch support. They also gave us this quote about some gameplay stuff. They said, we're not aiming for complete destruction of entire areas, like turning a battlefield into a parking lot with absolutely nothing left. Instead, we aim to create interesting, environmentally stimulating effects through that destruction, primarily creating interesting scene changes. So obviously with some of the crazy destruction we've got going on in game, the idea is never to level everything completely. So there will be things that won't be fully destructible or fully, gone by the time you go through and blast it with a tank 200 times. There will be things that change really to optimize or to change up the flow of gameplay in a certain area at a certain point in the match. So that's sort of a theme we could probably expect with all the maps going forward this year, things that we see introduced at launch, then post-launch maps as well. They also detail combat zones a little bit more, saying combat zones are customized for each map individually, and they're chosen differently to optimize that gameplay experience, just to freshen things up map to map. So nice to see there for sure. They also claim that Battlefield 6's gunplay is the best and most sophisticated in the series. Personally, the way that weapons feel in this game, especially the way you could build them out with like the 100-point system and everything, I find to be really, really cool so far. I think it'll be even more intriguing in the full game when you have full access to everything across all classes and whatnot. But so far, really liking what I'm playing there. And then another really, really important note here to round out this little information dump that we've got. DICE did directly comment on the Battlefield 6 time to kill system here. This has been a hot topic so far. Some people saying the TTK is a little bit too fast, some people loving it. Here's what they say. We've done in-depth research on TTK. In fact, in Battlefield 6, we'll be dealing with complex gunfights and environments. TTK is typically fastest in close combat, where it is very fast. You know, you're running into some of those SMGs, the shotguns, they go crazy. And the scenes we've shown in trailers are mostly close combat. We've actually done a lot of testing on the game itself, as well as a lot of historical experience. And based on this experience, we found the most enjoyable and comfortable combat situations for players. Based on our own experience, the TTK in dynamic battlefields of Battlefield 6 needs to be fast enough to keep up with the changes on the battlefield. So as you're seeing maps completely altered because of the destruction and everything's changing there, the spawns are changing because the control points are being captured and whatnot, the TTK's got to be able to be fast enough to keep up with that. So when we designed the TTK system, we used a lot of data analysis to reach the current results, but we'll definitely listen to players' voices and feedback. The game will continue to evolve and we'll learn and adjust based on player feedback. So for those worried about the TTK right now, there's no guarantee it's going to stay the same, especially for individual weapons throughout the entire year. Maybe even throughout the beta, we'll have to wait and see if they adjust things, for weekend 2 or anything. But basically saying they are opting for this faster TTK because that's where they have data that says this is typically what players enjoy more. I also have to, imagine this is sort of a similar situation to Call of Duty, where when the TTK is faster, yes, good players will excel. They'll be able to fry, but it also gives slightly lesser skilled players more of a chance. If someone's got to, be able to control a gun that's got a decent bit of recoil for 15 to 20 shots and hit the bulk of those to get a kill, they're not going to do as well as if they only have to hit a couple of shots there, and then they can move on to the next target, right? So that's typically going to engage more casual players, which really, it seems like Battlefield's going out of the way to try and cater to a lot of that, try and bring in a bit more of a new audience, while still keeping a lot of gameplay designs that are fundamental to the series as well. But some pretty interesting insights and transparency here directly from the Battlefield 6 devs. That is going to wrap things up for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out to guarantee you're always up to date with all the new videos I post. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.